My Hebrew brothers and sisters, 12 tribes of Israel scattered all over the earth. Let me take this moment to say Shabbat Shalom. And we trust that you are having a great Shabbat. Praise his holy name. We just want to thank YAHUAH for his love and his mercies. And for all of you, my brothers and my sisters, all of you who are coming in the room, I just want to extend Shabbat Shalom to you and trust that everything going well with you and your family. Praise be to his holy name. My brothers and my sisters, we just want to to let you know that, you know, a lot of things are going on around us. And we know that, you know, regardless of what's happening, that YAHUAH, he is on the throne. Praise his holy name, my brothers and my sisters. And he promised that he will not forsake his own. Praise be to his holy name. And so, you know, there's so many, my brothers and my sisters, like I shared with you in one of the lessons, my brothers and sisters, I share with you about an incident that happened here in Jacksonville last Shabbat. And I'm telling you that it is troubling. You know, it is troubling. And you know, when it's not you know, when it's not Jacob's trouble, you know, it is also you know, some trouble from you know, the gentilic section, okay? And so, but you know, all week long, my brothers and sisters, I've been hearing, you know, nothing but some, you know, grief from people, you know, and I've talked with people who know some of the family members that died, you know, the 3 family members that this man killed, you know, shot down. And, you know, one of them was saying that the youngest, which was, I think they said was 19 years old, his grandmother raised him, you know, his grandparents raised him, and said he didn't want to. She didn't want him to go to work, but he just, you know, not a lazy kid, and he just wanted to just go, you know, try life, you know, and, you know, in high school and everything, you know, but anyway, you know, he was killed along with 2 other older folks, and so we're going to continue to pray for those families. Pray that YAHUAH will, you know, just give them the grace, you know, and the favor, you know, that they need to continue. So today, it was laid heavily on me, you know, earlier, and I decided, you know, I'm going to talk to you. And 2 verses in First Chronicles chapter 4. Many of you probably have read it and you have heard about it, but it's referred to as the Prayer of Jabez. My brothers and my sisters, about probably 20 years more ago, this was a hot topic. You know, there's a little booklet that came out. It's called the Prayer of Jabez, and it was all over every evangelical church. You know, you know, I tell you, at least one member that about this church. The pastors in many churches were giving them away, and I decided that I was going to get a copy of it. I didn't get it free about it, so I read it. My brothers and sisters, there was nothing mysterious, nothing mysterious about the book. The only great thing about the book, the fact that it was Yahuwah's word. It came from the scripture. Okay? But all I did was to take the scripture and make some comment on it. That's all I did. Okay? And so when you read the passage for yourself, my brothers and sisters, you see that it basically doesn't need a whole lot of comments. You know? It's a plain as plain. There's nothing secretive about it. There's nothing hidden about it. All it needs is the person who reads it has an open heart and an open mind, and you can see exactly what it's saying there. Okay, so we're going to talk about that today, and our Shabbat meditation, and we hope by Yahuwah's grace that as I go through this, you will see, and if you are not praying, at least one thing this passage should do to you is to encourage you to pray, to seek Yahuwah. Because my brothers and sisters, when we pray, when we bring our requests to Him, okay? When we bring our requests to Yahuwah, when we believe in our hearts that He hears us, then He will. The only thing that would hinder Yahuwah from hearing and blessing us if we have iniquity in our hearts. So here in the verse, we're going to look at verses 9 and 10. That is First Chronicles verses 9 and 10. Listen. But before that, let me just say a few words about as I look at the passage, and I just okay. So when Jabez, when he grew up, when he grew to manhood, he has learned to estimate rightly the value of Yahuwah's blessing. So he invoked it. He invokes it, right? And depends upon it. The language, the way he said here, it implies confidence that he had in the reality of providential blessings. Okay, so I want look at so here we see, and in the passage that Jabez called upon Elohim, and he called upon the Elohim of Israel. Now, I've seen some readings and writings about this, where some people believe that Jabez was a Canaanite, like he was not from the family. He was not from our family. He was a Canaanite. But my brothers and sisters, if you notice in the passage where this prayer comes, in that passage, it starts at the heading. It talks about the family of YAHUAH or Judah. And even though it did not show a whole lot of that, there was two places in where in verse where his name is mentioned here, Jabez. Okay, but he called on Elohim of Israel, the living and true YAHUAH, who alone can hear and answer prayer. And in prayer, he had this I am him as the Elohim of Israel, a YAHUAH in covenant with his people, the YAHUAH with whom Jacob wrestled. If you remember, um, he was a descendant of Jacob, and but they want to say he was a proselyte. Like he comes from other families outside of Israel, but he was in the passage right where all the family members of Yahudah are listed and the different descendants, children, Okay, but if you remember how Jacob, how he wrestled that night, he said wrestled with an angel, and he said wrestled with YAHUAH, with and prevailed, because he held on to the angel, and and he said, he asked him to let me go because the day breaks. That means it was coming to light. And he said, I will not let you go until you bless me. So he said, and here this young man, Jabez, is saying that thou will bless me indeed, just like the prayer of Jacob. So in verse 9, he said, and Jabez was more honorable than his brethren, and his mother called his name Jabez, saying, because I bear him with sorrow. In other words, she in childbirth, she had a hard time. She had, it was difficult for her. We know Jabez is a descendant. It is a descendant of Judah. Is a descendant of Judah. Okay, and here he was, and so I noticed that apparently among when he says brethren, it does not necessarily mean his brothers and sisters. It does not necessarily mean that, because we don't know if she had any more children. But it could be the family members that live around him, in his community, or, in the area that he lived. He said he was more honorable. That means he was, if you want to say, a Elohim fearing person. And if you're looking at the King James Version, you talk about God. It's God fear. Okay, but he's a man. He said he was more honorable. That means his life was right before YAHUAH. And so his mother called his name Jabez, because she said, it said she buried him, in sorrow, with sorrow. I mean, it was a sorrowful experience for her. Okay. And so she called him. I want to look at the word call here, because to call, this word is as she proclaimed his name. She proclaimed his name. She called him. She read his name. She proclaimed his name. She cried out his name. She makes sure that she called him Jabez. And I would imagine then, she said, if she bear him with sorrow, that means that Jabez probably means sorrow. I really should have looked up what the word means there, but we know that he was a descendant of the from the children of Yehudah. Okay, and so properly he addressed by name, by name, Jabez. use some wide variety. The word to be called, the word call here means, it's like you can say the person is famous, right? He is famous, and his name was published, yeah, and a renowned name. He said he was more honorable than his brethren. Okay, so and in verse 10, and Jabez called on the name of Elohim of Israel. He called on the name of Elohim of Israel, the Elohim of Israel. Okay, and some people understand, like I said, he was a proselyte, but at the time, people were calling on the Israelite people, the Hebrew Israelite people. Many of them were serving the Canaanites gods too. And so, many of them have two gods. They would have like the Elohim, and they want to say the Elohim has to have a wife. So they would have a female part of the Elohim, that they worship. So that's because most of the Canaanite gods and the people in that area, they would have two gods. One like wife and husband God. We don't know where they get that from, but that's how they got it. That's how they did it. They would, and then so Israel, the true and living Elohim wants no one to be associated with him but himself. But the people would serve him and serve another. You understand? But here, this man, Jabez, he has one Elohim, and he's the one that he called on. He called on the Elohim of Israel. And I want you to notice here that he said, "Oh, that thou would bless me indeed. Barak me, kneel and bless me. Barak me." He said, "Bless me abundantly." Together, he said, "Bless me greatly. Bless me. Oh, that thou would bless me." He was blessing Yahweh. I mean, I know when he called on YAHUAH, when he called on the Elohim of Israel, I know he blessed him. I know he's telling him how great and wonderful and loving and kind he is. And my brothers and my sisters, he has such confidence in YAHUAH and knows that YAHUAH would bless him. When we call upon YAHUAH, we have to believe. This is why I said in the Epistle to Hebrews, said, "He that cometh to YAHUAH must believe that he is, and that he is the rewarder of them that diligently seek him." You're going to call upon YAHUAH and you don't believe that he's going to do what, If you have to be diligent in it, my brother, my sister. You got to be diligent. Praise be to his holy name. You got to be diligent. You got to be diligent. So here, in adoration, in adoration, he's asking YAHUAH to bless him abundantly, greatly. And my brothers, my sisters, to bless here is like to kneel. You're praising, you're saluting. And YAHUAH is doing that to you. Oh, that you would bless me indeed. And notice that he asked another request. Not only that he said, but enlarge my coast. Enlarge my coast. Enlarge my coast. Rabbah is a Hebrew word there. And it means to be or to become much or many or great. You want YAHUAH, praise be to that. You want YAHUAH to multiply him. Rabbah here means to multiply. And he wants him to multiply him. You want to be a blessing, my brothers and my sisters. It blessed me indeed. You want to be a blessing. You want a blessing from Yahweh, and you want to be a blessing. And that he would enlarge his court. When was the last time you go to Yahuwah and ask him to bless you and to enlarge your coast? Enlarge your coast, to give you, to bring in abundance, my brothers and sisters, to increase you in whatever respect, in abundance. Praise his name. In abundance, in authority, to enlarge, to excel in exceedingly, to be full, great, to go. This is the word heap here. Heap is a whole lot. It's a man, you have a heap of blessing. A whole lot of blessing, the word heap there. Now to increase, to give you, to make you, to make you strong, to make you healthy, to make you prosperous, to make you great, in a sense, not something to go around and brag, but to multiply, to nourish you, to give you plenteous of blessing, to make you your storehouse always filled thoroughly, verily, to bless you, my brothers, my sisters. That's what he asked in Yahweh. That's what he said here. So he's asking Yahweh to bless him indeed and to enlarge his coast. And listen to that, the hand be with me. Oh, praise be to Yahuwah, my brothers, my sisters. When Yahuwah's hand is with you, Elohim's hand is with us. Ain't nothing can befall us. And thou wouldest keep me. Look at the next request. That wouldest keep me. Here is it. He want to ask Yahuwah to bless. He want to ask Yahuwah to enlarge his course. He want to ask Yahuwah that his hand be with him. And he want to ask Yahuwah that he would keep him from evil. Keep him from evil. My brother, my sister, the word to keep here, is the word asa. And my brother, sister, in other words, to accomplish what you want to accomplish in my life. To do, to make, to advance me, to bestow upon me, in the broader sense, to appoint, or to be, to bestow upon me, to make certainly, to have the charge, or to commit. Oh, praise be to his name. Ready to execute, to exercise, to finish, to fulfill, to furnish, to gather, to, my brothers and my sisters, to govern. Praise his name. Yes. And Yahuwah, when we talk about that, will keep him there. He want to be industrious. He want to be able to perform. And Yahuwah's keeping care and his tender mercy is going to provide, my brothers and my sisters. He's going to show forth his love and his mercy thoroughly. praise his name, and that thou would keep me from evil. And the word to keep from evil here, the word evil here, my brothers and my sisters, is the word raw. And you know what that word is? That word means adversity, bad, evil. And he's asking Yahweh to keep him from adversity, to keep him from affliction, from anything that is bad, from anything that is calamitous, anything of displeasure, anything of distress. He asking Yahweh to keep it. Oh, my brothers and sisters, you and I do want to be among things that are happening bad. The evil, whether natural or moral, my brothers and my sisters, adversity, affliction, bad calamity, displeasure. We just want to ask Yahweh to keep us from that. We don't want to get into a sense, a place of distress or unfavorable situation. Exceedingly bad thing, great grief, grievous things, harm, heavy hurt, ill-favored things, my brothers and sisters, mischief, mischievous people. We don't want to be around them. We don't want to be around misery. We don't want to be around naughty and noisome. In Psalm 91, talk about the noisome pestilence. We don't want to be around anything that vexes, anything that wicked. We don't want to be around anything that is wretchedness and wrong and all those, bad things. We don't want to be around them. And this is what Jabez is asking Yahweh for here. This is a request he's making of Yahweh, that Yahweh would keep him from all of these things, keep him from evil, that it may not grieve me. That it may not grieve me, my brothers and sisters. The word grieve here is like, something displays, so displeasing, displeasing. It is atsab, and the word the atsab, and what is basically saying something to hurt, something to pain, something to grieve, displeasure, just hurt, to make you sorry, to vex you. Oh my goodness, people are always having those kind of issues because they find themselves among people, and sometimes they don't have enough sense to get away from people like that. And so, my brothers and sisters, we are going to trust Yahuwah to keep us, just like how Jabez is praying and asking Yahuwah to keep him. And this should be the prayer of our hearts, of our lives, my brothers and sisters, that we don't want to be around anything that's going to cause us grief. Grief will come, and all these different things come, and they're not pleasant. They're not pleasant, but we should try to avoid them as much as we can. But many people seem like they want to run into them. People they like to run into people who carve or stuff. People who fabricate, people who fashion things. People in the bad sense, people who are worrisome, people who have pain and anger and displeasure, and grief and hurt in their lives. And sometimes they don't know how to take it to Yahweh. They want to put it on somebody else. They want to give it to you. Like people have certain kind of diseases and they're mad about it. Instead of trying to get help, they say, before they say, somebody gave it to me, somebody made me sick, I'm going to make you sick too. We don't want to be around people who vex us. There are many people who are vexed. They're sorry, and then sorry, they vex, and then, and they worship the very, let me say, my brothers and sisters, like in politics, you can sit around in politics, and people who are miserable, and people who are miserable, and people who are vexed with all kind of stuff, and people who fabricate stuff and cardboard stuff and fashion stuff, in a bad sense. And my brother and sister, and people follow them, and they're getting himself in trouble too. There are many of them, so you say following this man, and I'm not even going to call his name, but they're following him. And what happened? Many of them have. You see, where 12 of them just got 32 years in prison because they're following a man and doing evil instead of them seek YAHUAH. Okay, but let me say this, my brothers and sisters. Here, this young man Jabez is praying and is asking YAHUAH. Is asking YAHUAH that that he'll bless him, that he would enlarge his course, that he would, his hand would be on him, I'll be with him, and that he would keep him from evil, and that he would not cause him to experience any grief, And then when he asked all of these requests, this one he said, and Elohim granted him that which he requested. Isn't it awesome? You take your request to YAHUAH. You take your request to YAHUAH, and he granted you. He granted you what you requested. My brothers and sisters, if we get to the point where we are trusting in YAHUAH, trust him in it, just get to the point where we trust him and we trust him alone. We don't allow anything, my brothers and sisters. We don't allow anything to cause us to lose sight. And we trust him and we make him our true Elohim. No one else. My brothers and sisters, just like Jabez did, we can make our request to him. We can trust him and he will grant our request. Let us stay strong. Let us stay righteous and holy. And YAHUAH will be there for you and for me. My brothers and sisters, I want to thank you for your subscriptions. I want to thank you for your likes and your comments. And I want to thank you for your prayers. And I'm going to ask you, my brothers and my sisters, that you will walk with the King. But as you walk with the King, be a blessing to someone. Be a blessing to someone. And my brothers and sisters, you're going to find your walk with the King going to be great. And so, let me take this moment again to say, Shabbat Shalom.